we are in the Q&A for Role 30, the Wizard Us. What questions do we have for us today?
Should it be a certain personality type in that role, Mark?
Nope.
Okay. What kind of features in that person? But that doesn't matter either.
Well, no, it does. Absolutely. You can't have anybody doing it. I mean, they got to be probably a little bit out there, a little bit crazy. They're going to they're going to have to be, an inner outer quadrant personality. They can slide into, any one of the four personalities, and any time they can go deep on them, they can go high, low, anywhere. They got to be for sure, great students. Big time. I mean, so when you look at these here, Wizard will have mastered WIFM, consistent and committed, driven and discipline cubed, clear communication, success through self-vaporization, be the best student in the world in everything. So they'll have mastered this and mastering it. And then as we go into the next dimension, the income machine, that's taking, our talents. So Ralph Miller, one of my mentors out on the East Coast, he said to me, he says, Mark, and he was a Christian, taught at a Christian university, sold his company, his aviation company, in his early 50s, never had to work again a day in his life. And he said, Mark, a lot of Christians, a lot of people, spiritual people, whatever, not just Christians, but spiritual people, they look for miracles like healing or, something out there. He said, I think what a miracle is, Mark, is a 16-year-old boy that's worthless at home. I mean, the parents can't get a lick of work out of him. And he goes, works for McDonald's, and McDonald's helps him to become a productive member of society. Like he's actually producing more than he's consuming. He's actually contributing to the world around him. He said, that's a miracle. I'm like, wow, I've never heard that before. And he says, you have a very unusual gift. And I'm like, okay, what is that? He's like, you have the ability to see people's gifts, and you know how to take those gifts and turn them into money. Economic and engine. I'm like, I never thought of that either. He said, and there's very few people on the planet that can do that. And so some of that might be born in me, personality. Most of it, I believe, came from my parents. I am seeking to transfer that to the next generation, to my 5 grandkids, soon to be 6, and grandchildren that aren't mine, children all around the world. And how do you go ahead and how do we take our talents and create an income machine from those, an economic engine from those? Questions? So in Grandpa's Magic Couch this morning, we covered the blackout principle. So my youngest brother, once in a while I will include him in some of the emails that I send, and he asked me not to, which I found to be very interesting. And we had a conversation, and he said, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what's going on in your emails. Like, they're overwhelming. None of you, I'm sure, can relate to this.
No, not at all, Mark.
There you go. Yeah, right? My brother, I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he says, it's almost, Mark, like when I'm reading it, it's like I black out. And so when somebody gets in, like in Ford versus Ferrari, or in the Mach 1 principle, when you get going so fast and you're not used to it, you haven't trained, your brain's not ready for that you can black out. And so when people, I could never understand why people wouldn't talk. Like when I ask them a question, any thoughts, whatever. And what I just realized recently, because I sat on Grandpa's magic couch, part of EC2, is that when it gets above somebody's emotional, relational, intellectual intelligence, when it freezes people, it's like they black out. And they have no idea what's being shared, or they aren't an expert in the conversation for sure. They don't know what to think. There's too much data, flowing in too quickly. Questions?
To me, that kind of happens when I'm trying to think about goals, because it's like so many different things coming in that I can't think anymore. I'm so emotionally tired.
Right. Right.
And like 3 o'clock this morning, I was up, and I'm like, then it was starting to think about it, and I'm flowing. So I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning working on goals.
Right. Isn't it cool? Like you and I were connecting when I saw an email. I'm like, wow, she's up pretty early. Yeah, I got up at 2:30 this morning. Like, boom. It just like all of a sudden my brain just kicked in, and it's like, boom, and it's like all this stuff happened. So if Alan was here,
He
like,
is.
No. If Alan was here, like,
Wow.
okay, so if Alan was here, like, what would Alan be asking right now?
How do you break through that blackout?
Nope.
What would he ask, Mark?
So what we know is that people don't think and people don't study Alan so well. Like they don't study him. They don't get inside his head. And what's going on in his head, Because he might be sometimes like me. People want to stay as far away from getting inside my head as possible. And so I'm guessing he's like, this is really weird. Like phase 2, the income machine, that's interesting. I'm thinking he's like, I wonder if anybody's going to bring up, ROI. I mean, that's kind of connected into the income machine. I would think that ROI might be, is that connected into the income machine? I would think somebody might ask that. Maybe not.
Yeah. He's looking at the ROI worksheet that I created.
Oh, look at
Antonio.
Yeah, see, the wizard calls me his best friend, and so I've picked up some things. It's like, how did I know that was there? Like, whoa, that's weird. Like, that's the kind of person you want in Role 30. Like, they see stuff that you don't see. They understand things that you don't understand. It's like crazy. They're like, wow, that's really crazy. Anyone else have any questions or thoughts?
I jotted down some of my thoughts this morning, Mark, just thinking in general terms, but it's interesting how it relates to what you're talking about right now. Sometimes I find myself overwhelmed with all that I need to do for the day, and then that gets me feeling frustrated. It's easy for me to choose to do things because I'm a doer. I came from a very hard-working family, so it's been instilled in me. But I find that maybe the biggest problem that I have is how do I decide to not do something? That's the harder thing for me. I get overwhelmed in my mind with all the things that I have to do, all the things that I need to do, all the things that I want to do. So how do I break it down? How, like, people like you, Alan, Cheryl, so many people can focus in on tasks and complete them, get them down. And I want to learn that skill.
Huh, interesting. Anybody know what Mark's thinking right now?
No clue.
I'm thinking, man, am I glad I hung around the wizard a lot, because, man, if I hadn't hung around the wizard, I'd be like, whose voice is that? But because I've hung around the wizard a lot, because normally we kind of have a rule when there's new people, guests coming in, that, they're, hey, Kathy's here today. Normally that's how it works, but people know, hey, Mark's, he's hung around the wizard, like, it's fine. If we have people coming in, he can sense their energy. So does anyone have any observation about what was shared before I shared what I just shared? Nothing? You guys got nothing? So, frequency-wise, what happened? I'm hoping, was that Kathy?
Yeah.
Kathy.
Sorry, I didn't tell you.
Right, you should have known these rules. Like, yeah, you're a wizardess. Like, of course, you should know. Like, hello. Like, it's the first time you've been here. Like, hello, you should know these things. No need to apologize. Again, I'm the wizard's best friend, so I just knew all this. So, did anyone see, so this is in the quantum thinking model, there's a question that's asked, there's listening that's done, and then did anyone see what I saw? So what happened is Kathy, she went ahead of everybody else on in the group. That's not normal, especially in these kind of conversations. In these kind of conversations, most of the time, people are like, I don't get it. What's he talking about? Why am I here? Like, this makes no sense at all. And so Kathy went ahead and jumped ahead of all of you.
I don't mean to jump ahead. It's kind of like when you present these qualities and tools to deal with life. It's like my head just it's like a mind blown kind of thing. My head just goes all kinds of directions. I need to rein that in. I need to figure out how to.
Does anyone know why Kathy shared that? There's 10 reasons.
Oh, okay.
It's number 10. So she did something very unusual. She said something, and then she actually explained why she said it. Nobody does that. Like, they say stuff, but so she's saying it with intention, and if we're listening, again, this is number right here, listening. If we're listening, why did she say it? I mean, intention, but what did she say? What was her intention?
To learn, basically. I want to.
To learn what? It's actually, she wants to learn the wrong things, which is fine. I get why she wants to learn the wrong things. I totally understand it. It makes all the sense in the world. But she wants to learn the wrong things. What does she want to learn? What did she say she wanted to learn? How come nobody's listening to what Kathy says?
She wants to learn how to not do things in a long list of tasks.
That's not, what did she say she wanted to learn?
How to focus?
Mm, what words did she use?
Crap.
Decisions, making decisions.
She said she wanted to learn how to rein it in.
Oh.
And what might I encourage her to do?
To do the opposite.
Right.
What?
Yeah, you don't want to rein it in. You want to. That's your free. That's your free. You know.
Okay. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's a gift. Have you ever seen the movie Bobby Fischer's? I forget what the name of it is. He's the champion chess player.
Oh. No, but it's on my to-do list.
Yeah, so he was going crazy, and there's like, he had two handlers, two friends, and one of his friends said, we got to get this guy medicated. Like, he's not doing well. And the other guy said, no, like, you know, it's like pouring cement into an artesian well. Like, no, can't medicate that. No. And so, you know, it's like, was it Seabiscuit? I don't know if that's the one, that movie there, and that horse that went ahead and just destroyed everyone else, like just crushed them.
Yeah.
Like that horse wanted something, like there was something inside that horse. It's like, oh my gracious, like other horses wanted to win. You know, so horses want to win. They don't want to get beat. They want to please their master, but that horse wanted to run. Same type of thing in Ford versus Ferrari, where, you know, the race car driver, he felt one with his car. He's like, come on, honey, you got more. I can feel it. Like, he's one with his car. And so that's Kathy's energy. I felt that the first time I met her, first time I talked to her, I'm like, holy wow. Whoa, she's got energy. Man, like, wow. Now, when you're racing at the speed she's racing at, her mind is racing at, it's not that she needs to contain it, she needs to discipline it properly.
Yes.
And so when she learns to discipline her mind at a much higher rate, she'll become unhinged, like I did when my mom died. Questions?
I'm not familiar with. So tell me about it.
Well, my mom and one of the closest people in the world to me, when she died, and my dad died 3 years earlier, my grandmother died a few months before my dad, so three very significant people who played roles all died very quickly. And I didn't have to worry about embarrassing any one of them, or like I felt free. Not that it was bad, like they didn't hold me back. They taught me tremendous disciplines. And I felt a sense that it's like, okay, I can now unleash it on the world. But going back to ROI real quickly here, this is important. And so people often have never, like they've always had money provided for them. In Grandpa's Magic Couch, Don Crozier talks about when he was 8 years old over in Australia going out and shining shoes to make money. So his parents, Scottish descent, said, hey, if you want something, you go out and you earn it. You figure out how to take your talents and turn them into an economic engine. But if parents provide everything for us, we often don't learn how to do that. And then, maybe an employer provides that for us, so we really don't ever learn how to take our talents truly and turn it into an economic engine, which means we don't go ahead and We don't care. We don't appreciate money. Cheryl, she values money. She made a $20 investment into EC12 personal investment. She paid for it because that's what you have to do. And when she wasn't getting the value that she thought she was getting, she said something to Life Masteries Institute, which was really, really good. So she values that money. She could be taking that money and investing. There's other people who put $20 in. They don't really get something out. But nobody's ever quit EC2, even if they're not getting value. So what that shows me is they don't really value even their own money. And if you don't value your own money, you're not going to value your employer's money. And so when you value your own money and realize how hard you work for it, how you don't just waste it, how you and you learn to give it away to other people in contributions or whatever, and then you learn how to invest it into other people. When you learn how to do that, you become a really good steward, and you have this sense of understanding. It doesn't matter if it's $20, $200, $2,000, $2 million. Like, it reflects somebody's hard work and stewarding it. So ROI is saying how much money is Tanglewood putting into the San Antonio event, X amount of money. They're putting in $5,000, whatever it is. And so, well, what if I was putting that $5,000? What kind of a return would I want from that? It's being able to internalize. So I remember as a little kid, young boy, doing paper routes and working really hard for the money in the cold Wisconsin winter. I remember doing a lot of things I didn't like to do to earn money, and that's never left me. So it doesn't matter if it's $1 or $1 million to me, it all reflects somebody's life. And I don't want to waste somebody's life, so I connect money into living. I connect money into being stewarding all of that stuff. And so I look and say, hey, if somebody's investing they're investing their life, their very life into this. And they could have taken that money and they could have consumed it, but they didn't. They shared it or they invested it or whatever they did to it. So when we look at ROI as a human being, I don't want to waste somebody's life. Time, talent, treasure, trust, truth, temple, and thought. I don't want to waste that, so I want to steward that in the most amazing way. And the wizard understands those principles, or the wizard us, understands those principles deeply. And they understand how to teach those principles to other people, where people say, I've never thought of that. One of the natural laws is the investment return principle. And employees, I've seen employees make, $30, $40, $50, $100,000, and they think they're entitled to more, and they're not appreciative of the $100,000 or $50,000 or whatever they're being paid. And they say, well, if I was paid more, I would work more. No, you wouldn't. You just won't. And they don't internalize, have I ever invested $50,000 into anything? So they become entitled in their mindset. And as soon as they're entitled, they're not looking for an ROI. And then through EC2, people are trained, and so the ones who do take ownership, they're the ones that are producing the biggest ROI, but a company can't pay them really what they're worth, but they don't think of it like that. They don't think of it as entitlement. So the people who think they should be getting paid more probably should be getting paid less. And the people who are happy, content, satisfied, saying, hey, I need to work harder, they're the ones who should be making more. And so from an engineering perspective, they need to teach the people who are entitled to produce more, and when they do, the people will produce more. And the people who have that attitude because their parents trained it into them, almost always, that becomes the culture. So if you have any questions on anything we covered, connect with the individual. Always remember, I mean, talk to your art mentor about this. Talk to your 2 art buddies about this. How do you instill it? How do you teach this? How do you convey what's been shared today to other people? So talk about it. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.